I'm Ram Jam. I'm T-Cat. Meow. My name's Eyeballs, and fuck you. Welcome to Shit Ass. Yo, bros, we're gonna show you the prank call like a man. It's hard to make prank calls nowadays, Ram Jam. You know why? Why, brother? Because the Democrats got rid of all the telephone booths. We're gonna show you how to prank call by using someone else's phone. There's 3 motherfucking steps on how to prank call like a bro. Step 1, you gotta steal a motherfucking phone! Yeah! Hi. Hello, kind sir. Do you have a phone I could borrow per chance? Yeah. Thank you. Fucking idiot! What the fuck? Can I borrow this? I guess. Oh, fuck you! Fuck you, you punk! Oh! Fuck. Step 2, find a number. I got you covered! T-Cat, let's find us a number! You ready to make this call? Prank call that shit, eyeball! Alright, let's fucking do it! Ringing. Hepner Wayne, is this him? Yeah, this is Eyeballs. Fuck you, asshole! Remember my name! Oh, bro! Hello, who am I speaking to? Oh, Ned. Is this Ned Asshole? No? Well, you sound like an asshole! Hello, is this Karen Folly? Yes, is your refrigerator running? Then you better go eat a cunt, bitch! Oh! Oh, yeah, bro! Yeah! Are you filming? Yeah, bro! Go! Hello? Are you home? Well, listen to this shit! I ain't gonna have this shit, I ain't a wife. Here you go, dude! Back 2. Step 3! Run!
Oh shit. Anyway, hi, fuck. Hi, welcome to Box Office Addict, episode 65. This is my weekly live stream podcast where I break down the weekend numbers for you guys and have a freeform discussion with the chat. 65 motherfucking episodes. That's pretty awesome. I guess to celebrate this, what my plan is, or at least my scheme, if you will, the conceit of this one, is I'm going to go back to the basics again. We're going to do a classic Box Office Addict. If any of you have been following this show a long time, you might know that the show has evolved over the year that it's been on, over a year now. And before, it used to just be a short live stream where I pretty much just covered the box office in a very analytical way, and then it slowly evolved into sketches and reactions and responding to your guys' comments in the chat, and then that kind of blowing up into its own little thing. And then some episodes just going off the rails. I can't really articulate exactly what Box Office Addict is as a show, as a piece of entertainment, what it's ultimately trying to say or do. But if you remember the old days, any of you, it used to be I just covered the box office and I would occasionally respond to questions. And since we've done 65 episodes, I know that fans differ on what Box Office Addict they like. Some people really like the old stuff, and then other people like the longer episodes, the ones that are more about the tangents and they're not about really the box office, or the ones, or some people like a balance. But I know a lot of people like it also when it's more serious, when I get more serious about movies and I have arguments with some of you and we really get in depth, or some people like it when it's just a free-for-all comedy thing and I'm doing a bunch of impressions and stuff. But I think we're going to go back to basics a little bit before the show turned into something else. Why I even wanted to do something like this to begin with. And I think we're going to go back to the roots a little bit of Please Rewind's Box Office Addict, which we've done before. We did this with episode 50, I think. We went back and watched some old ones. But I thought this would be fun, too, because I had some bits set up that I thought I could perform this and do a joke here or two. But it'd just be better, honestly, just to cover the movies and keep it tight and try to entertain you guys without leaning on some of the things I know I can. just seeing if people still enjoy the show for its coverage of the box office. Why you would even watch it is to find out what happened at with the numbers over the weekend and what I think about it, and me going into the details that might not be interesting to other people, but they are to me. And I wanted to do the show originally because I just wanted companionship on that, people who felt the same way I did about this, instead of kind of what it turned into, which is just a show. It's just the live stream of the channel. It's the show of the channel. If you want to talk to me live, you have to come on Box Office Addict. But originally, that wasn't the intention at all. It was supposed to be extremely focused. And that, to me, was the key to it. But as I kept doing it, I guess I realized that the key to its success, or what I enjoyed doing about it, was the opposite, was that it was actually never about the box office. Which is interesting, I guess, when you think about it. Or narcissistic on my part. Maybe that's, Ben Shapiro really likes Batman 89. He thinks it's great. Okay. He loves it. He thinks it's the best Batman movie ever. It's very good. No, having doesn't work. What works is never going to sleep, so your black TV doesn't get stolen by a black dude. I am not following the conversation going on in the chat, but it sounds amazing. I'm just trying to go back a bit in the chat and see what some of you guys said. Pat, you're my favorite customer. Thank you. Damn, dude, you dropped the N-word in the chat. Damn, dude. Yeah, oh no, you motherfucker. Yeah, everything's okay with me. I wanted to do this yesterday, but once again, I was too tired from work. I'm trying to do it earlier. I was going to even do this tomorrow. That's true. I should have a sponsor for Blue Apron. That's a very good idea, Dragon. All right, so let's just jump right in. Let's just do this classic Box Office Addict welcome. If this is your first time, you might be like, what the fuck? Why does anyone watch this? But it's going to be a chill episode today. Mainly because nothing really exciting happened at the box office, in my opinion. And anything I could talk about, I don't know, it would just drag the show on too long this week. Maybe next week we'll do a longer thing. Plus I have other stuff I'm planning to do with the channel. Like I said, I did promise you guys there'd be more short form content, and I would get back to making videos again. And then you got the Goodwill Hunting video, which wasn't even 8 minutes long. So I'm trying to keep my word on that and produce more videos again. And I use up a lot of material for my videos on the live streams. A lot of the stuff that I say or do in the live streams is stuff where it's like, I would have liked to have saved that for a video. So I'm trying to be a little bit better about that. Because I want to get another video out before the end of October. Anyway, let's see where to start. Disney's Christopher Robin made $148,000 this week and $186 million worldwide, $98 million domestic, with a $75 million budget. You include marketing. I don't know if this film's broke even. I would say no. And I would say it's a disappointment, especially considering how well Disney's done this year and when you look at other live-action adaptations that have come out in recent years. But it did okay. It's not like a disaster, if we're being fair. Peppermint made $190,000 this weekend. It's made $35 million domestic, $41 million worldwide from the director of Taken on a $25 million budget. That's not a very good performance. I'd contribute that to the film not being very good, so word of mouth wasn't good. Predator had a 77% drop, made $50 million so far domestically, $125 million worldwide on an $88 million budget. That's a bomb. Beautiful Boy, starring Steve Carell and Timothy Chalamet, opened to a very mediocre 221. Actually, no, 221,000 in 4 theaters is great. What the fuck am I saying? That's a 55,000 average, but I don't think this film's going to do well, personally, even though Timothy Chalamet is building a fan base. Incredibles 2 has made $1,227 million worldwide. That makes it like the second highest grossing animated film ever. The Sisters Brothers, the Western starring Joaquin Phoenix and John C. Reilly, made I don't know what it made this weekend. It made $1 million so far. 258,000, that's plus 26%, so pretty good. Hellfest has made 10.4 million, probably more than they ever thought it would make. Honestly, The Old Man and the Gun, starring Robert Redford, his last role, 912,000 this weekend. It's made 1,696,000 so far. Maybe that'll do well. You got to think with certain generation and a type of audience too. We'll skip Colette and go up to Crazy Rich Asians because I don't really care. Crazy Rich Asians, 171 million, 228 million worldwide, $30 million budget, as you know, doing very well. Don't care. The Nun, 1,375,000, 115 million domestic, just below the first Conjuring, a little bit higher than the second one. Worldwide, the highest grossing film of the franchise with a $22 million budget. I would say this film's made a very good profit. A Simple Favor from director Paul Feig, 1.3 million, 52 million domestic, $83 million worldwide. The Hate You Give, with you, not Y-O-U, 1.7 million, plus 244%, 2.4 million. God, 2 hours and 12 minutes. Fuck that movie. I'm watching that shit. The House with a Cock and Balls, 3.9 million, 45% drop, 101 million worldwide, 62 mil domestic. I believe this is now Eli Roth's first film to make 100 million. Yes, Hostel made 80 million, although I guess when you adjusted Hostel probably would have made about 100 million. Still, not a bomb, but certainly just doing okay. Maybe the international expansion hasn't happened yet. Maybe it's only in a few countries. I'd have to look that up. Now here's the one that I was going to make the box office Addict feature film of the week. Well, featured film, yeah, of this week was going to be Bad Times at the El Royale because it's new. It's from a writer-director I like a lot, Drew Goddard, who worked on Lost and Buffy and did Cabin in the Woods, worked on Daredevil, wrote the screenplay to The Martian. And honestly, I love the trailer to this movie. I thought this movie looked great. I was very excited for it. And then I started hearing very mixed things. This is a very split down the middle movie. Tarantino-inspired film, and a lot of people like it, and a lot of people say it's too long, things don't work about it, it doesn't have the freshness and meta qualities of something like Cabin in the Woods. It's not as tight. I mean, this is a 2 hour and 20-minute long movie. I knew it was going to bomb too. Even though I think the marketing was great, I just don't think they built hype for this movie very well. So I guess in that way, the marketing was a failure. Even though you have big stars like Chris Hemsworth and Jeff Bridges, I just don't think, I don't know, I just got a vibe. It wasn't like Cabin in the Woods was even a big hit. It just did good and had a decent budget. It just was very well reviewed and did well at festivals. But maybe that's another thing that hurt the film. It didn't have that hype coming out. Because, yeah, if we look at Cabin in the Woods, that only made $42 million domestic and $66 million worldwide. So it's not like this was a massive hit. A lot of people thought it was going to be. There was a feeling like this was going to open like to 30 million and become a surprise hit, and especially how well reviewed it was. And I really like this movie a lot. I have some friends who fucking hate this movie, even though it seems to be, for the most part, very popular. In fact, it's one of those movies I enjoyed much more the second time than the first time I saw it. And I'm not the biggest Jaws Whedon fan. But Cabin in the Woods just did okay. I mean, the biggest thing that he has to his name, I'd say, is, I guess, The Martian. You know, which he got an Oscar nom for. And he worked on World War Z, and he wrote Cloverfield. So, I mean, he's had a pretty successful career. But this is also a very unique kind of film to sell. Like, Tarantino can sell movies like this, perhaps Matthew Vaughn. But I'd say for the most part, movies like this typically don't do well. And I don't know. It just seemed like people were unaware of this movie, John Hamm. Once again, though, I loved the trailers. I thought the trailers were great, even if they probably sold a different movie than what this ended up becoming. Anyway, 7.2 million over the weekend. That's in 2,800 theaters on a $32 million budget. Marketing, I just don't see this making a lot of money, at least domestically. Maybe internationally this will be a surprise hit, but this is disappointing, quite frankly. I wish Drew Goddard would have maybe got a different editor to come in and cut like a half hour, maybe some rewrites. I wish this could have done better. I wish this could have opened at 20 million, because I would prefer films like this over something like Venom, which is making a lot of money. This is a disappointment, certainly for Drew Goddard, though, because, you know, he's kind of been riding a high for the last few years. So to just release a bomb like this is kind of disappointing, and it doesn't look like it's going to get any Oscar nominations or anything like that. So the main reason I didn't feature this as the film of the week is that I don't know how many people are really aware of it. I brought this up to a lot of friends of mine, and they were like, "What's that movie?" And I was like, "Yeah, it really did go under the radar, um, fly under it, you know." And this is where we build towards. So yeah, Chris Hemsworth, who doesn't really do that well outside of Thor and Marvel films and stuff. John Hamm, who unfortunately hasn't had a big career outside of Mad Men. Jeff Bridges, I would say, is a star, and Dakota Johnson might be becoming a star. I mean, we can't really go off 50 Shades of Grey because that's because of the books that those made any money at all. Although 50 Shades of Grey isn't a bad idea for a movie as far as selling a premise to mainstream audiences. So, yeah, I don't think the word of mouth on this is going to be good, in particular because of the laborious pacing of the film. So, unfortunate all around. Night School, starring Kevin Hart, $8 million this week and 35% drop. That is a good hold. 59 mil domestic, 75 million worldwide, $29 million budget. Not a bomb. Doing adequate box office from the director of Girls Trip, which was a huge hit, and the underrated Roll Bounce, and a lot of other popular African American films. But definitely not one of Kevin Hart's biggest films, for sure. Smallfoot made $9.3 million this weekend, $110 million worldwide, $57 million domestic. So I'm guessing that internationally this film's going to do well for them. Although animated films are expensive, so who knows how much this cost. Goosebumps 2, Haunted Halloween, that does not have the benefit of Jack Black being in it, but Goosebumps is still a major IP. I mean, people still love Goosebumps, and I think those books sold like 400 million units or something. So R.L. Stein's Goosebumps doesn't go anywhere. Although I don't like the way they've gone with the franchise, but holy shit, do I kind of love that poster. That's my kind of poster. Is this from the same director? Did Rob Letterman direct the first one? He did. He's directed a few Jack Black movies. So Goosebumps 1 was surprisingly an adequate film financially. It did well, and it did well review-wise. It wasn't like a lot of people thought it would be a disaster, and it wasn't. And Jack Black played R.L. Stein. $58 million budget, $80 million domestic, $150 million worldwide. It wasn't like a huge hit, but it certainly wasn't a bomb. So $16.2 million this weekend. Not really bad considering there's no major names in the movie, and I think it just follows kids. On a $35 million budget, which is a lot smaller, this film could end up doing okay, especially if it plays well over the second half of October, so not a bad opening weekend. I'd say actually on the upside, I'd say it's a positive. Hello, Craig. How are you doing? I don't think there's a critic audience divide on Venom. I think people perpetuate that stuff a lot. Like, oh, people loved Man of Steel, but critics didn't like it. Or, oh, you know, if people loved Venom and it was so raved on, why would it have a 55% drop at the box office? I mean, that's not bad. That's an average drop, but it's not like the word of mouth on this film's amazing. I mean, people say that was Suicide Squad. A lot of people like Suicide Squad, and a lot of the people who liked it went in knowing they were going to like it before they saw it. They were Hot Topic fags, or they just wanted to see the Joker and Harley Quinn shit. It was almost like a sexual thing for them, more an image thing, something very shallow on the surface, a makeup, if you will. And there's a lot of dumb people out there that like dumb, generic, stupid movies. I know some people that like every movie that comes out. Don't we all know people like this, or all have friends like this who were like, hey, I like every fucking movie. They think every comedy's funny. They think every drama's emotional. They think every action movie's badass. And you'll see their comment on Facebook. They'll go see some shit film, and then someone's like, how was it? And they're like, it's great. They love everything. They just like watching movies. They like having something to distract them, although they're probably typically on their phone during this. So, in that kind of audience member, sure, the same people who like the fucking Transformers movies, do they like Venom? Fine. But you also have to think, half the audience didn't like the movie. This is what people get mixed up with. That they're like, oh, well, it's making money, so audiences love it. It's like, no, the product is making money because it's a good idea to make a Venom movie. It doesn't necessarily mean people love the product. You know, there's people who hate McDonald's that still go eat McDonald's. And that's what I'm getting at. Because it's fucking McDonald's. Yeah, I'm shocked it bombed as bad as it did, but I'm not completely surprised at all. Movie normies, yes. One day I will make my movie normie video. What is a solid modern day comedy? I haven't seen one in years, quite frankly. The last comedy I liked was probably like a decade ago, so I don't know. None? Comedy's fucking horrible now. I agree with you. I don't think comedy's dead in like television or stand-up or podcasts, but I think it maybe in cinema it's not doing great. I mean, I don't think Deadpool was that funny. I enjoyed Deadpool, but I wasn't like laughing my ass off. There was parts, yes, of Deadpool I like. I mean, I haven't seen a consistent laugh out loud funny comedy where you sit there from like an hour and a half or 2 hours and you laugh the whole movie in a while. And typically the movies I do laugh at are the ones that critics don't praise, like Bridesmaids or Trainwreck or some bullshit that's not fucking funny at all. It's a movie that always has like 30% Rotten Tomatoes and it's funny. This is what people don't get about genre and why some critics fucking aggravate me, or some YouTubers, or how people like to get analytical and break these things down. Here's the key with genre and genre driven films. It's the experience, okay? It's fucking atmosphere, and it's what it communicates to you and why it creates passionate subcultures. That the same reason people love metal in a lot of ways, besides technical, but that's part of it. But it's what it represents, right? Okay, so for instance, a horror film, if it is scary, the craft is executed well and it is scary, you can't just focus on fucking structure. You can't just focus on acting. You can't just focus on themes even, because there's so many great horror films that are classics that have shit acting, that have honestly bad dialogue and honestly pretty shitty scripts overall. And the themes are metal, but they're scary to watch, right? They give you that feeling you're chasing. You're chasing Amy, man. But then also, there's comedy. If a movie's fucking funny and it's making you laugh, who gives a shit, honestly? I mean, to be fair, if it has a good story structure, good acting, that's one of the, for me, that's not necessary at all to make a great comedy. It helps, but you'll see a lot of these movies like, oh, this film has some structure and some decent acting, so it's got 90% on Rotten Tomatoes. Classic comedy, makes money at the box office in the 2000s. It's like, yeah, but it's not fucking funny. It's generic. It's bullshit. And then you'll watch some movie that people hate, like Saving Silverman, that has like 18% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's a Comedy Central movie, right? And it's fucking hilarious. They're in a band, a Neil Diamond fan club group called Diamonds in the Rough, and they hunt him down and are obsessed with him. That's a hilarious idea. Because it's just funny. It doesn't need to make sense. They just knew it was funny, and people making it understood comedy. But people like to... I hate this new thing where the humor is getting intellectualized. They want to break it down. They want to tell you the math. They want to explain the algorithms to why jokes work and how you make a comedy. Instead of people just having raw, funny talent. And the same thing with horror. Some people just understand what scares you. Yes, there's Psycho, that's scary and a great movie. It's not like the two cannot coexist, but what I find is a lot of these horror films that come out now, they get like 85%, 98% on Rotten Tomatoes, a fucking Babadook, if you will, and It Follows, right? They're honestly not that scary, in my opinion. They're just well made. And then you'll see a comedy that gets like 90% Rotten Tomatoes, and I never think they're that funny. I've seen so many of those fucking movies getting hyped up, like where everyone's saying it's a classic, and I'm just fucking disappointed. It's like, this isn't Blazing Saddles. So, I don't know. I feel like people are way off the mark, and I mean, I'll admit that it's a bias, but despite how big horror is right now, I don't think there's actually many good horror movies. because they're missing that feeling I want, and maybe it's my own interpretation of what that feeling is. The Evil Dead is objectively a meh movie with shit acting, but it's great both horror and comedy, inherently emotion-driven genres. Yes, that's a great example. I agree. Yeah, Small Time Crooks is fucking great. That's why you laughed out loud. Oh, Basket Case is great. Frank Henenlotter? Yeah. God's Not Dead. Yes, Kevin, which is why God's Not Dead is the best comedy I've seen in years. And I do not mean that as, oh, I just laughed at it because it's Christians are stupid and I'm an atheist and propaganda's funny. No, it's like there's stuff in there that's so genuinely funny and well put together from a comedy standpoint that I don't think they intentionally meant to be comedic, but because they're actually trying to make a film that works, the stuff that's funny about it is almost like punctuated with this. The comedy just pops off the screen. Stuff that they don't mean to be funny, but they're trying to make work emotionally, but because the emotions are so fucked up, the emotions are trying to go for like sad or tense, end up leaning towards funny. Or Diary of a Wimpy Kid, which is one of my favorite comedies the last 10 years. That's a much funnier movie than so many R-rated comedies or films that got praised. The first Diary of a Wimpy Kid and Roger Groles, but the first one really, Greg being this piece of shit little kid and like an asshole protagonist from so many 80s movies that I loved, like a Volunteers, where lead characters could be assholes and movies didn't try to make everybody fucking likable. That's why Diver Wimpy Kid's so good. Especially having the bold move to say, like, we're going to lean into a kid being unlikable. We're not going to try to make a kid likable and he is unlikable. We're just going to let the kid be unlikable, where you fucking hate him. But that makes him endearing. It's like almost like Kevin Arnold. Kevin Arnold, if you go back and watch The Wonder Years, is a little fucking shithead. But then after a while, you're like, yeah, but that makes him more real. Because if he was perfect, then it would make this whole thing feel artificial, that he has this great life with this narration, but because he's kind of an asshole, and he's looking back fondly and ignoring the fact that he's such an asshole, it gives it depth. I don't think the first Evil Dead's as good as people make it out to be either. I'll be completely true with that. I think Evil Dead 2 is much better, and I even like Army of Darkness better. I have no problem saying that. I like the first Evil Dead. I think it's impressive when you consider the money they had. Like, you're like, oh wow, that's amazing. That's like, if you could pull that, it shows talent. That Sam Raimi had a lot of talent. But yeah, for me, it's my least favorite of the trilogy. Yeah, kids are little shitheads, right? I mean, don't get me wrong, I really like Evil Dead. I'm not... Did you guys like the Good Will Hunting video, by the way? I'm asking. Alright, let's get back to it. First Man from... Now, this is actually... I'm fucking retard. This is the fucking movie I should have made the movie of the week. I'm so fucking stupid. Instead of doing A Star Is Born, which I only picked because it's turning in to such a big hit, and it's an Oscar frontrunner as far as I can tell. And I was like, well, let's focus on this because last weekend it was number 2 and I didn't make it the film of the week, so let's do it this week. Now I'm looking, I'm like, I totally fucking forgot First Man came out. So that's just me being fucking stupid. I honestly just totally forgot this came out. I plan on going to see it. So this is a disappointing opening weekend, you gotta say. 16.5 million, just because Damien Chazelle's coming off the massive hit that was La La Land. Gosling's hot right now. Neil Armstrong. I mean, Apollo 13 did really well. Granted, and I know Apollo 13 isn't about Neil Armstrong. I'm just talking about films in a genre. Granted, The Right Stuff was a bomb, and it's one of the best movies of the 80s, if not one of the best films ever made, quite frankly. Philip Kaufman's The Right Stuff. Is that a man? Yes, it is. I think that's the line. It's amazing. The guy walks out. Is that a man? Yes, it is. That's so fucking badass. But Damien Chazelle, who I'm a fan of, he made the terrific Whiplash, which made $49 million worldwide on a $3 million budget, won 3 Academy Awards, and then he made La La Land, which is a huge hit. $30 million budget, $446 million worldwide, $151 million domestic, won 6 Oscars, so he won Best Director. This film not as well reviewed as his previous 2 films, but still very well reviewed movie. 90% on Rotten Tomatoes, 84 on Metacritic. Certainly going to get some Oscar nominations, although a lot of people seem to think this film's very boring and slow and lacks drama. It's a technically well-made film, but it's very emotionally cold and clinical. I had read the budget was 70 to 80 million, but 59 million is actually a pretty modest budget when you consider that there's special effects, and it looks like it has Dunkirk-like qualities to some of the scenes, especially with them testing things before they went to the moon. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe it was marketing that was the problem here. Release date. Maybe this wasn't good for October. Maybe this was better for like November, closer to the award season. Also, I just don't think this film's gonna have very good word of mouth. Just the vibes I'm getting from it. I could be completely fucking wrong, but I feel like this isn't gonna end up making that much money domestically. I don't know how it'll do internationally, but the question is how many people want to go see a movie like this in other countries. I don't know, because I mean, it's not like the moon landing is just an American thing. It's not like the whole world is unaware of it. But that is the question, isn't it? So $59 million budget. The marketing had to be pretty decent sized. Maybe they should have went smaller with this at first, like La La Land, and then open this slowly and let some hype build up from like LA and New York. Sometimes that really helps. I get why they went wide, just because of La La Land. I would have thought this would open to 20 million. That would have been my guess if you'd have asked me like a month ago. I would have said, oh, 20 million. But it even opened lower than that, and I thought I was being pretty conservative. I think like this had potential to open to 30 million. So it's a mediocre opening weekend. This is really going to have to hold well to make any money. And I don't know if it could make much more than 50 million domestic. I don't see this making 100 million, although I would have thought that before, but who knows? Maybe. See, the reason I would have said release this more in November is then you could have had the December holiday holds at the box office leading into January. But with this might, just keep dropping over the next few weekends, especially since A Star is Born is really the movie that people are paying attention to right now in this kind of category. And then you have Venom is a blockbuster making money. So where is there room for First Man, which is kind of a hybrid of an art house film and a blockbuster? Where does it fit in? Or maybe it should have been a summer release. I don't know. There's a lot of factors here. Maybe people just weren't interested in Neil Armstrong's story? I'm not sure. What do you guys think? Yeah, and yeah, 78 is scary as fuck. It's always something at Philadelphia all season. They've been saying soy boy beta cuck. You totally agree with my Will Hunt? Well, of course you do, because he's ridiculous, and that smart people don't talk like that. That's the funniest thing about it, is that it's Matt Damon and Ben Affleck trying to write a genius, and they don't know how to write a genius or a highly intelligent person. So it's very funny. Oh yeah, no, the practical effects to Evil Dead are amazing. I have not seen Mandy yet. I want to. Matt Damon. I'm glad you liked the video. That's going to be the future collaborations. Is I'm going to try to rant and talk about things instead of reviewing movies as much, because I just don't have time. I'd love to go see A Star is Born. I'd love to go see First Man. I'd love to go see Bad Times at the El Royale a couple of times. I'd love to go see a few of these movies and give you guys reviews, because these will all be, I think, very good reviews. I mean, back in the day, I would have reviewed First Man. And if I do reviews now, they'll be so late. So that's an unfortunate thing about this, is what the fuck do I do? what do I do? So I'm trying to make the channel less of a movie review channel, which is what Please Rewind is, what its inception was. And we're just doing like, hey, I'm going to talk about why I don't like Will Hunting. And then another video will be like, this is why Garden State doesn't hold up, or this is why I love this movie, right? Instead of, me just reviewing movies and trying to follow a format. The videos are going to be more conceptual, I would say. They're conceptual ideas. Yes, that if you're smart, that makes some, importance. This movie importance. But I hope to go see one of these movies. I'd like to get some reviews out for you guys. Anyway, First Man, mediocre opening. Let's talk about the box office Addict film of the week, although I might actually change this to First Man after the upload, because I forgot about that, and I think that would be a better idea. But anyway, A Star is Born, as I predicted, and I think everybody else who follows the box office or has read reviews for this movie, held very well, as it should have, because duh. 34% drop, $94 million domestic, $36 million budget, directed by Bradley Cooper. This is very low budget, honestly. And yes, they put a lot of money in the marketing, but you gotta think, the soundtrack to this is gonna sell. Lady Gaga's huge. The music's good. I've heard the songs. I think they're good. The movie's gonna make a lot of money. And, so overall, there's no way they're not making profit off this. And a lot of it, I would say. And then you got to think, how long is this going to play? And are people going to go buy the Blu-ray once it gets some Oscar nominations? Because really, if this movie had just made $94 million domestic, and I know I do this a lot, but really, if it had just made that, and let's say worldwide it made like $250 million, that would be a successful movie. Like, if you were looking at this right now, you'd go, well, that's not bad. But this is going to make, I think, $150 million domestic. I think it can make over $300 million worldwide, if not more. So it's just a hit. And like I said, the music's going to do well. So, and then you're looking at least like Best Picture, Director, probably Screenplay, Actress, Actor, Editing, Cinematography. I mean, it's gonna get a lot of Oscar nominations. So, it's got a lot going for it with Eric Roth. Isn't the guy who wrote Forrest Gump in Munich? But this is huge for Bradley Cooper, who is a movie star. Bradley Cooper is one of the modern-day movie stars, without question, and has been for a while. When he works on a big project like this, like an American Sniper, and he's smart. Bradley Cooper's a smart guy. He really is. He knows he has a great business acumen. He really understands the marketing side of things and what projects to pick and what is a big movie. I think he was very aware of Silver Linings Playbook's capability to become a blockbuster. I think he was very aware, because he's the one that got American Sniper pushed. I mean, he was a producer on it for a while, and I think him working with David O. Russell, I think he was very smart about that. I think he's been a sharp guy for a long time, and I think that I don't know if he always had the ability to direct, or he picked up things from working with other filmmakers and studied it, but I don't think he's an idiot at all, and I think the results show and I think he's humble, so he plays it down a little bit, but I actually think Bradley Cooper's a pretty sharp guy. And his box office kind of speaks for itself. Now, yeah, he has a lot of bombs, like Aloha. Joy wasn't a big hit, but really, if you think about how big The Hangover was, how really it was huge, and Limitless was a big movie, and then you think about American Hustle and Silver Linings Playbook, and then you got American Sniper was the biggest film that year domestically. And then he's Rocket Raccoon. So, the guy's got a good career going right now. 7.9 million. And the fact that he kind of became a leading man late in the game. As everyone remembers back in the day, Bradley Cooper used to be like the supporting character in a comedy movie like Wedding Crashers. He was never the lead. So it wasn't really till Hangover that somebody said, let's build a movie around this guy a lot, even though really Zach Galifianakis was the real star of the first movie. But yeah, it's already made $135 million worldwide. So I'd say it's already a success. This is pretty much what you expect. It's like consistency. Chocolate cake is chocolate cake. So you hear about Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper making A Star Is Born. You're like, well, unless this movie's fucking terrible, it's probably going to make a lot of money. Well, it is. And then it turns out people say it's great. So then you're like, oh, well, shit. Okay, well, now it's going to make a lot of money. Like more than I maybe even thought it could make. And then it's coming off a time where musicals are blowing up again. Romance is coming back. Female audience members. I mean, like, there's a lot of female films that are catering to female audiences. So all of those things combined, and then, you know, this is a film that is a generation crosser. You know, older people would see this movie. You could see a teenagers going on a date, although they probably shouldn't. So yeah, this is what you expected to happen. So good for Bradley Cooper. I mean, he's the one. Even though Lady Gaga's gonna get a lot from this, I mean, really for Bradley Cooper, this is just another notch for him. This is another way for him to go, okay, look at what I'm building, and how much money and power he could have in the coming years. He could be a Tom Cruise or a, you know, Brad Pitt level of, you know, just he's reached that level. I mean, really, if he worked with like Tarantino on something, and then if he directs another movie and it also does well, then you're really looking at a big career with him where he's at right now in his life. So this is so The Star Is Born is really kind of funny because the movie has a meta quality to it, right? And that Lady Gaga as a movie star is born in this movie. That's part of it, her character, but Lady Gaga herself. And him directing her and shaping her, him molding the clay, giving her the ability to act, right? So that's within the film and within the production, the filming, right? And her being this muse for him, and him being leaning on it and trying to avoid just this being a vanity project where he's the lead actor and he gives himself this draw and he sings and learned to play guitar. He worked on this for like 5 years. But also, there's another thing, because it's about one career kind of declining, right? And then another career peaking. Now, Lady Gaga's music career, I would say, is much bigger in a lot of ways than Bradley Cooper's movie career, where she stands as far as in her field as opposed to him. She's has a lot more money. So okay, so there's that, right? By the way, Lady Gaga looks a lot better in this movie than she does in real life, like without makeup and the dark hair. It's like, yeah, you should look. I mean, she's still not like a super hot chick. She's got a nice body, but she looks decent, like in the trailer stuff. Not as bad as honestly she's looked for years. But also that A Star Is Born, is, you know, kind of a trying to be that, like trying to make a full on, we're aware this is a remake, we're aware that what we represent, and that Bradley Cooper saying, I'm not on the top of the hill, I'm not the king of the hill right now, right? But through her, I can become maybe bigger than I've ever been if I find the right person. And I think that's one of the things that when you make a good film, the making of the movie's reflected in the final product, and you see how what influenced what was going on in the set into the film. It's in the blood, if you what's in its DNA, people like to say. So that's a very successful thing, Bradley Cooper, and I think this was almost tailor-made to be a blockbuster, even though maybe that wasn't his intention artistically. His natural ability to have success financially, just, you know, it just came out and resulted in this because Bradley Cooper's just, he's good at that stuff, quite frankly. So we'll see where that career goes. What did make its money back? I don't know what we're talking about. Oh yeah, Andrew Dice Clay. Yeah. Andrew Dice Clay is actually just this great actor. He was great in Blue Jasmine. So I mean, I've always liked the Dice Man, but Which one do I like better? I mean, The Thing. The Thing's a masterpiece. It's John Carpenter's best movie. After that, probably Body Snatchers, and then The Fly, 86. But they're all amazing. I mean, they're kind of all masterpieces, so it's hard to. What am I? I'm sorry. I'm gonna go up and read. You're a big Soderbergh fan. Thoughts on Contagion? I think Contagion's okay. It'd be like a 6, 7 out of 10 for me. I think it's decent. It's nice that he cast these big name actors to kill them off, so it kind of surprises you. But it's definitely on the lower end of a list for me with Soderbergh films. Use facts, not emotion, when you argue business. Well, we weren't arguing business. It's just the expression, reaction to looking at how the business is doing, but not really trying to make an argument one way or the other. And also, that's just honestly, that's really bad advice. You can very much argue emotion with business. That's actually one of the keys to having a successful business or convincing people to invest in you, is your ability to get people to like you emotionally and to manipulate emotions. That's if you don't get people who want to follow you because of your understanding of psychology, you can be good with numbers, you can have a good idea, but part of it is the emotion. Just like most things in life, quite frankly. I mean, money is money, yes, but how people make money, there's not just a rule book. A lot of it's human interaction. Oh, it's you guys having an argument in the chat? Jesus Christ. I mean, you're saying Venom's a bomb domestically? I mean, I don't know, I don't know if I'd say bomb. Because you have to have the context of what was their thinking of what it would make domestic. Do you ever think they thought that Venom would make $300 million domestically? I don't think so. I think they thought it would always be international, and they would be happy if it could make 200 million. So there is a lot of specific context to that. I refuse to take money from people who I can manipulate emotionally. So you would never make a movie then? Is what you're saying? Because if you made a film and it made people sad or happy, and you manipulated them through the filmmaking, which is what you would be doing, you wouldn't want people to buy tickets to your movie? And I'm not being coy with that, I'm asking you literally. Would you not make art? Because you wouldn't want to do the craftsmanship that manipulates people? Like a magician or something like that? Or even a stand-up comic who knows how to make people laugh? Yeah, I don't know if I'll buy the Bergman collection. I own so many Bergman films already. I don't know. I mean, it's not like I wouldn't want to own it, but it's going to be expensive. That's going to be like one of those fucking $120 Criterion sets. Well, positive manipulation is completely a real thing. It's something I've talked about on this channel many times. An honest lie, is all I like to say. There's nothing wrong with manipulating as long as you don't hurt people. As long as you're not ripping them off, right? As long as you're not taking money from people or screwing them over to hurt them. If you actually have something good to offer, or quality, or it's even to the benefit of the people, it's okay to use manipulation. You're good at it, but for the right reasons, which is to ultimately, I guess, make people happier. That's a fine thing. I mean, I would not say someone's a stupid idiot if they invest just because they like someone. It might be what's the intention, right? Like, maybe they just want to be around people they like and they agree with, and in the grand scheme of things, that person thinks in the same way of like they do. So they think they can be part of my thing because this is partly my emotions of what I want this to be, and you can be part of it. Like, because even if a guy can make you money, if you fucking hate the guy and you don't want to be around him ever, and you just fucking hate him, you might just be like, well, fuck it. Like, because like, why be miserable? At the same time, like, being partners with someone you hated. Okay, so yeah, anyway, Stars Born is a hit, straight up. 28 million this weekend, so that's a very successful movie. Where are we at lengthwise? Okay, we're about an hour. Venom, weekend 2. Not a bad drop. Once again, this is a drop for a lot of movies that open big, and this opened bigger than people expected. So if you go look at a lot of movies that open 80, 100 million, they have drops in the 50% range. So this isn't like, it was going to be 60% going in, but I don't think this is that bad of a drop, honestly. I mean, it's not a great hold, obviously, but for a film that's got like, what, like 30% on Rotten Tomatoes, I mean, really. So anyway, Venom had a $35 million weekend, 55% drop in 4,200 theaters, 142 million domestic, on a $100 million budget from the director of Zombieland, Raymond Fleischer. Fleischer? Is it Fleischer? Michelle Williams, Woody Harrelson, the cinematographer of Aronofsky's films and Chirac and A Star Is Born. He's having a good summer, isn't he? Shot straight out of Compton. Yeah, $100 million budget. Marketing would have been, you know, I imagine pretty high. But worldwide, it's made $378 million, so I think we can say this film's going to break even when we look at the final box office total worldwide, because it's clearly going to make $500 million worldwide. I just don't think there's any way it can't, and it possibly will make more than that. It could possibly make $600 to $700 million worldwide. So, superhero movies are just a guaranteed genre at this point, except for very few. I mean, I think all of them have made $500 million in the last, like, 8 years. I mean, it's a very few. If you look at DC films, if you look at Marvel films, across the board, they've all done, like, over 500 of the last few years. I'm not saying they always did that. Like, there was still a time a movie made, like Captain America, the first one, made only, like, 370 million worldwide. But those days are kind of over. I mean, stuff like Ant-Man now made 500 million and then 600 million. Superhero movies have... People were talking about a fatigue a few years ago, and really the opposites happened. They got bigger. There was no, like... At some point, a fatigue stopped, and they just got more popular than they ever were, really. When you think about it, they're more popular now than they've ever been. And stuff like Logan made a bunch of money. Spider-Man Homecoming made a lot of money for Sony. And Wonder Woman made a lot of money. I mean, so we're just at a point now that it's huge. And it's not having that decline people thought. And also, once again, Tom Hardy's a star, which I talked about last weekend. I mean, look here, his last 3 movies, 183 million, 190 million, 142 million. His last big movie, Fury Road, before that, 154 million. So, you know, he can clearly bring in people. I think Tom Hardy can open a movie. And the Venom character being insanely popular since his debut, even though I've never been a fan of him personally. He's an extremely popular character, I think mainly because people like the design. They like Spawn. So, yeah, badly reviewed film. Had a great opening weekend, quite frankly. The budget, really, I mean, they could have spent 150 million on this. 100 million is a pretty small budget for a superhero film. So overall, I think this is a great second weekend. I honestly was expecting a drop over 60%, if not 70%. So it looks like this could, you know, get to 180, 200 mil domestic, and if it makes 350 to 400 million at the international box office, I mean, you know, you're looking at $650 million worldwide on a $100 million budget. I mean, that's break even. It's a little bit more than that. This costs less than Ant-Man, right? So I don't see how this isn't a hit, really. That doesn't mean people liked it. Suicide Squad was a hit and got bad reviews, and you don't know how well a sequel would do. The DC Universe kind of bit him in the ass when Justice League came out. But really, if people go see the next Spider-Man film and like it, I don't know why Marvel wasn't involved with this film. I don't know why Kevin Feige and people at Marvel didn't work on this more. It's not even the director they picked, I think, being bad. But this reminds me of like when they used to just hire people back in like before the Marvel era. They're like, let's just get the guy who did Zombieland, and we'll cast Tom Hardy and we'll make it work. It doesn't feel as planned out as a lot of superhero movies are now, so I think that affected it. Especially when you see something like Upgrade and you're like, oh, they could have made a good Venom movie. Basically, just make that movie with $100 million. God, the ending would be so badass too. Like just being like, Eddie's not here now. I sent him away, so he's happy in his mind or something. And it's the same ending. And I'm spoiling Upgrade now. And then Venom just takes over at the end. That would be so badass. And you feel bad for the guy. You're like, shit. Tragedy. But instead they do goofy comedy, slapstick, generic superhero stuff from like a decade ago. I mean, it's really weird that the premise wasn't the pain of slowly turning into Venom and losing yourself to it, this thing taking control of your body. That really should have been, I mean, that to me, that's the obvious focus. And not really being that comedic about it, being more like you feel bad for this guy. You don't want this to happen to him. But, you know, hey, you know, the Venom design's great. You see why this made money. People liked Venom, and you know, this will still probably tie into Spider-Man at some point. I don't think they're just going to drop this. Why waste the character? Like, Marvel's thinking, you know, maybe if we could get some action on Venom, we can make this work. So, because, you know, it's performing well, so very good for Venom. It just shows that, you know, superhero movies are just making money in general, not just the MCU thing, which is what everyone always just focuses on, because they're so successful. Yeah, I know. I want things to work out for Steve Harrington as well. I'm worried they're going to kill Steve Harrington or something. It's where, yeah, definitely. Steve needs a happy ending, God damn it. Of course they could. They could totally play doppelgangers. It's weird though how big Jurassic Park's held up though, Craig, you know, as a franchise, that it's still like a billion-dollar franchise. Because really, outside of Star Wars, there's not many franchises that are that old that can do that. Like, we have Star Wars, and it's like, okay, well, Star Wars film's going to make $1 billion, except Solo bombed. But now that you look at it, Jurassic Park made $1 billion, the second one made $620 million, the third one made about $370 million, but the last two have made over $1 billion. So it's pretty amazing that that franchise has you know, has had longevity and is actually still as big as it was, and it hasn't lost it gets new fans, like Star Wars does. I think they're comparable. Like George, because really, when you think about it, people always compared Indiana Jones to Star Wars because of the George Lucas factor, and it was a trilogy and another trilogy. But when we're looking at it now, if we're just talking about the spin-off factor of it and the money and the merchandise and kids things, really, you got maybe Spielberg directing Jurassic Park is the comparison to Star Wars as a franchise. Because if you were going to just compare the film, you'd go Jaws or something. But if we're talking about what it spawned outside of that, because it's not like everybody buys Jaws merchandise, even though a lot of people buy a Jaws shirt, but toys and little kids and them still making movies and them still being significant in the music cues and the iconography still being so popular. All right, let's see if I missed anything real quick. Jane and Emma, nothing opened really well. So there's nothing to really talk about. outside of the, I mean, I think we got a lot out of Bad Times and First Man and Stars Born, Venom. Let's just talk about, this is a really interesting weekend, right? One sec. Excuse me. You have Venom, which is this super film that Sony made. Everyone always shits on Sony, but it's making money. Then you have A Star Is Born, which is this, like, Oscar hopeful and big hit, Bradley Cooper. Then you have First Man, which is disappointing at the box office, but it's Damien Chazelle. It's an Oscar hopeful. Then you have fucking Goosebumps 2. Then you have a Kevin Hart movie, and then a Drew Goddard, the guy who made Cabin in the Woods, follow-up. Then you have a fucking Eli Roth children's film. Then you have a Paul Feig fucking movie that's not like a Melissa McCarthy comedy vehicle. Then you have The Fucking Nun, which is a spin-off of the Conjuring franchise that's not directed by James Wan. Then you have John Chu, the guy who directed Step Up 3D, doing a movie called Crazy Rich Asians, and it's the biggest rom-com in a decade. And then you have The Incredibles 2 at the bottom of all of this, which has been out for months now, and then a Western starring Joaquin Phoenix and John C. Reilly. And then in there you have a Shane Black-directed Predator film, which is a critical and financial disaster. Then you have an adaptation of Winnie the Pooh starring Obi-Wan Kenobi. All I can say to this is, what the fuck is 2018? I'll tell you what 2018 is. 2018 is this.
Wake up! Wake up! Run, rush, and put a little makeup! I just have to fade away the shake up! Why'd you leave the keys up on the table? You wanted to! Wake up! Wake up!
That's 2018. I don't really have a perspective on it, Dragon, to be honest with you. I don't think it is a me. I mean, I see what she's saying. It's a Me Too movie. The guy who tried to kill her is like the guy who tried to rape a woman, and she's getting her revenge and fighting him back. But, who cares? That's been done before. That's not new subtext. Me Too didn't invent the woman getting revenge on the men who hurt her. That's been in genre films going back decades. So I don't really care. That doesn't affect me being a good movie or not. For me. I actually think J.J. Abrams could make a good movie. I think some of the scenes in Super 8, like when she talks about her mother dying, or I think it's her mother in the car accident or something. I can't remember what happens, but there's a scene with Ella Fanning and the little boy that's really good, and the opening's good. I don't think he's a bad director. I really don't. I think he's just got some shit that's really annoying aesthetically in some of his choices and the kind of movies he makes. I think if he just made dramas, or like a courtroom movie, or something like that, I think if he actually just accepted his limitations a little bit more and didn't always try to be like the next Spielberg, Lucas, if he didn't just make these $200 million films, I think J.J. Abrams could make some adequate movies. I like Regarding Henry. He wrote that. If he did a couple more things like that, like if Super 8 didn't have the monster, right, and it didn't have the sci-fi shit and the Spielberg stuff in that way, if it was just about a group of kids going out to make this zombie film together and this little boy falls for this girl and that was it was more like Stand By Me, without the supernatural elements, I think it could be a really good movie. I think that's the stuff that hurt that movie in the second half. I think the first half, when they go to film the movie and then this fucking ridiculous train wreck, it didn't need any of that, even though that was a lot of what sold the movie. I remember those Super 8 trailers were so exciting, and then it was like, oh, this is disappointing, even though Stranger Things kind of ended up being what I wanted that to be. But yeah, I think if he just made like if he had Chris Pine in a courtroom drama as a lawyer, some John Grisham-esque movie like A Runaway Jury, or if he made a buddy movie or a rom-com, I think J.J. Abrams could make some really decent, I think he could have made like a Hugh Grant movie in the 90s. I mean, Super 8 is stupid. I'm not going to deny that. Yeah, that's the thing. Slashers have been, rape allegories forever. I mean, I guess there's a bit of Phantasm in Stranger Things, but I wouldn't compare them off the top of my head. I would say, if anything, Scooby-Doo is more the OG, but I think I mean, I definitely see that. I think that's a comparison a lot of people haven't made. I think people have more made comparisons to E.T. and Stand By Me in that, and I think your comparison to Phantasm's very good. I think that's a very interesting one, but I don't necessarily think that's what they were totally going for. I would say it's more a certain vibe from films of the 80s that I don't think is... I mean, definitely the small town and the tall man and the kid solving the mystery. Yes, that stuff. Yes, that stuff is definitely the sci-fi mixed with fantasy. But more so Stranger Things, I get this vibe that they were just trying to do Joe Dante-esque stuff with the Goonies and the stuff you like in those kinds of movies is what I think the Duffers were more into. Duffer. Aren't directors overrated? In the end, it is the talent of the crew who is not listening to the director. Well, that's confusing. I don't understand. Crews listen to directors all the time. Like, David Fincher's crew listens to him. I mean, the crew is more talented than the director in specific ways, but, like, if a director has a vision and he understands it... Because really what a director is a storyteller. That's what you have to be good at in communicating stories visually. You know, that's the difference between a DOP and a director, because the DOP technically can do more things than the director can. Almost every time you'll meet, there's rare that you'll have a David Fincher who knows as much as a cinematographer, or Cary Fukunaga, or Kubrick, right? Or Spielberg, who they can film their own movies. Oh yeah, huge Stephen King influence in general, and Stranger Things. But a good director, what I find from my studying on it and being on sets, is typically somebody who knows how to put all those pieces together for the story. To know that you need the sound effect here, or to know that you need to do this cut, or to know ones that are in the editing room and putting the film together, and the cuts they decided to go with while they were filming. I think the main job directors have out of anything is choosing the cuts during filming, not necessarily in editing, but how to cut the scenes, pacing, filming footage and thinking about how the movie's flowing, and tone. And I think the director talks to the set designers and the cinematographers and the key grips, all that stuff to set tone. So I think a director's main job isn't like, oh, I gotta make this movie look beautiful, I gotta deliver the screenplay great. It's just looking at, well, it is delivering the screenplay, but it's like, okay, how do I tonally capture the screenplay? How do I pace this story? And how do I choose the cuts to show you what information? They usually pick that. That's what the director decides, is what information you are seeing. Because screenplays typically aren't visual. They're not as visual as much as you have to. That's why you need directors to turn a screenplay into something. So he goes, okay, we have this scene in this location. We're going to focus on that, because that's what the audience needs to see. To understand what to have things communicated in this. So I think that's the importance of the director, and that is a very specific skill. And you're also kind of a manager, but I would say that doesn't make the director the most talented person on a set. And I don't typically think that's always true. Also, if you're a director, you get all of the credit for a movie when it's successful, but also when the movie's bad, you get all the blame, right? Like a director, when he makes a great movie, everyone's like, this guy's a genius, even though he had a lot of help, right? But then if he makes a movie that's a disaster, what if the producing was bad? What if his crew wasn't very good? What if all these elements weren't working? What if he had a bad relationship with an actor? But then everyone says he's a bad filmmaker, right? So you take on a lot of the blunt, you take the hits, you take the responsibility if you choose to be the director. And maybe not everybody wants that. Maybe people just want to do their work and get paid decent. You know, like a cinematographer, but he doesn't want to be out in the public to be judged. Because a lot of times, you know, think about how nice people are about cinematography and reviews. If you read most reviews, bad movies, most of the time people give a compliment to the cinematographer, right? But they'll shit all over the director for paragraphs. And not everyone can deal with that kind of pressure. People can deal with being criticized, but when you're personally getting criticized for your work in artistic fields like that, things that are aesthetic, like when people tell you that you're dressed bad, that seems to really irk some people who don't have a thick skin for that specific kind of thing. Yeah, I would. Actors aren't overrated though, because they're the key to something working. As much as I fucking hate it, because I hate. Now, are actors not as smart and as talented and great as they seem because they're reading a script? Yes, and in that case, they are overrated because they get paid more. But anyone who's ever made movies fucking hates how important actors are, because you just want the film to be a technical thing. You want to do stuff with your camera, but the actors smooth out the roughness that shows that it's a movie, where you do notice the camera, or you do notice that it's a story being told artificially, right? Or that it has cuts and set design, and the camera's placed somewhere to make your eye, and there's sounds to make there's a music score. What actors do, the magic that they can do, a really good actor, a person who's good at lying, is they can make people actually believe the shit is real and forget they're watching something. So that makes them so crucial. And this is key to so many great films. Like, The Godfather's fucking amazing, right? Like, and it's Coppola's direction, it's Gordon Willis' cinematography, it's that screenplay, all of it's fucking amazing. But, like, you know, the acting is so great that Al Pacino is Michael Corleone when you're watching that film. It's not just, hey, I love Al Pacino. He feels like a person. And when actors can do that, it kind of does. I don't think audiences know anything about how movies are made. So I would agree with that, Matrix. I don't think audiences know dick about movies. I think they're probably more knowledgeable now than they used to be. I haven't watched all of Maniac yet, so I can't give a full opinion on that. But it starts really slow. I could say that. The first few episodes are slow, but I've heard it gets better. So right now I'm going to say minor disappointment, but visually stimulating. But that's my main. I mean, but actors is a tough thing. It's tough. I have a love-hate relationship. Yeah, I guess so. I think part of comedy is being mean, and everybody's kind of got their balls cut off, the men and the women who never had balls to begin with. So comedies kind of lack the mean spirit, the rebellious nature, the rock and roll seems to be gone. I've heard it gets better. I mean, Kira Fukunaga would be a fine choice for a Body Snatchers film. I don't have a problem with that. If that's what you're asking. I would watch that. I mean, or would I? Who knows? Who knows? God, these videos are old. 2014. Holy shit, that's old. 2014 was a long time ago, kids. Long time ago.
Yeah. Alright. Yeah, thanks for letting me know. God damn it.
So is Lou coming to the showing?
No, I just got a call. He got stepped on.
Damn. When's the funeral?
It's Friday, so let's see if we can knock out the viewing tomorrow, and then going to Lisa's viewing on Wednesday, and then Jimmy's funeral on Thursday. Are you open on Friday?
I'm booked Friday. I gotta go to Dad's.
Oh, your dad. You haven't seen him in a long time, right?
Well, it looks like Friday's gonna be the last time. He got bucked by a Triceratops.
Oh. That sucks.
It happens. You taking that Chantel girl out for round 2?
No, actually, I walked in on her and she was with a raptor. He was really tearing her up.
Harsh. Hey, you going to that herbivore rights parade tomorrow?
No! Don't you know, Todd? I'm a herbophobe. What? Fuck them! What, you think we should put up with their shit? They're fucking retards. They're animals. We get eaten by the other half, and then the other half has to eat our fucking trees and stuff and our plants? No, bullshit. They don't deserve rights.
Well, I will have you know that just because your Bible says that they don't have a soul doesn't mean that my heart doesn't say they have a mind. And they can think stronger, better, and faster than any of you prejudiced humans.
Hey, fuck you, man, and fuck all the dinosaurs that you support. I don't care about their fucking minds. And those pterodactyl terrorists. They keep crashing airplanes into buildings if you weren't paying attention to the news.
You know what? You have no concept of their struggle. You know, dinosaurs have only been free from slavery for 100... They've only been free from slavery for 100... They've only... God damn it. Can you please do something about this?
If we just wait a bit, it'll stop. Fine, fine, hold on. God damn it. Hey, Jim! Hide your fucking dinosaur up! Jim! Jim, if you're gonna get one for a pet, keep it on a leash. Son of a bitch.
That's so stupid. That's so fucking stupid. Oh my god. I'm trying to read some of your comments. This is making my bones soft. Yes, exactly. That was the Fallen Kingdom film before. I don't know. These videos have been private for a while, so I didn't know if some people missed some of them. Haven't seen them in a while. Well, Please Rewind Presents, I might bring some of these videos up and tell stories about them and where I was at in my life, so... which is just theoretical right now. I don't know if that's 100% what I'm gonna do. Still trying to figure that out. Although I'm proud of some of these reviews we did. I think some of those reviews are actually really good. I think particularly the one on Maleficent's very good. Because we just ripped that movie a new asshole. So I'm not totally unhappy with some of that stuff. Especially I want to talk about Plan 9 and break down why that was something that was very important to me at the time. And I think about sometimes, like, if we'd have been able to pull that off, actually, that might have been really, really good. Really, we were only held back by the people we were working with, not what we thought, what we had written. What we had written, I thought was very good. The Bucky Toothless video, that's the one. That's the one to cling on to. That one will save your life. Anyway, if you're a box office addict... Wait, what am I saying? If you're watching this show, you're probably a box office addict yourself, and I'm not here to help you with your addictions. I'm here to encourage them and have you OD on them. So thank you for watching. I'll see you for episode 66. And I appreciate everybody who's tuned in the show for this many episodes. It's pretty fucking awesome. You guys are the best. None of this would be possible without you. And hopefully I can get a new video out soon with the help of Terrible Lizard. So I will see you bitches next week. Okay, folks. Blue Apron, folks. Alright.